Hello and welcome to Sunday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, and here we go. I believe this is the last of the Rat Run puzzles, Rat Run 10 by Marty Sears. It's called Censored. We have done all 9 of the preceding puzzles on the channel to huge acclaim. This must, I think, be the most popular Sudoku series that there has ever been. So Marty Sears deserves huge congratulations. I went to Logic Masters Germany thinking, I'll snip some of the comments to show you about this puzzle. And there was no point. There was pages and pages of comments. So it is wonderful to see the puzzle community buying into this and going off and solving it even before we cover it. So anyway, I'm really looking forward to having a go at this. Not only that, but Marty has saved Fog of War for puzzle number 10. So if you've never seen Fog of War Sudoku before, this is the most wonderful innovation for computer solving. So if, say, I deduced this digit and I entered it correctly, it would clear the fog from the surrounding cells. So the idea is that you can just use the logic and the cells you can actually see to gradually reveal the puzzle to you. It's really cool. This has got 3 stars out of 5 for difficulty, and I'm very, very much looking forward to having a go at it. Anyway, I do have some things to tell you about, some unusual things as well, but I'll start with the fact it's the 1st of September. And that means it is Patreon Reward Day. So if you're a patron of the channel over on Patreon, thank you so much for your support. Obviously, the 1st of every month is the day that we launch our competition Sudoku hunt. This time themed on Hollywood sandwiches. Let me find the flyer. There are a lot of sandwiches in Hollywood films, believe me. So if you like sandwich Sudoku, you will really like this. And yeah, you should have a lot of fun. And it should be, most of it is quite approachable as well. But you've got until the 20th of September to send in your solutions and be in with a chance of winning the prize. And it's a couple of bucks a month to join us on Patreon. If you're interested. Now, other news, let me tell you about some things. Huge thank you to 2 people who have supported the channel for years, with whom Mark and I had the most wonderful dinner on Friday night. They know who they are, and yeah, it was just wonderful to finally meet you both. So so thank you very much for everything. In a slightly stranger way, let me show you. We had an email from Sindra, who has been watching the channel for a long time, from Norway, and Sindra has got a Sudoku tattoo of 2 of the favourite puzzles that have been on Cracking the Cryptic over the years. So the bottom right puzzle here is Peter C. Hayward's Faulty Towers puzzle. If you've never seen that puzzle, that's a very unusual Sudoku indeed, but really rather wonderful. And the top one, I think, is by James Sinclair. I want to say Confiable. Anyway, there you go. This is what you can do. This is what people now do. Isn't that brilliant? Now, the next thing, frankly, for me, is even more brilliant, because I received a gift that has been created for me by one of our viewers. And I want to show you this. This is absolutely incredible. Nim Bachelor has made... I'll try and put it in front of the webcam just so you can see it. It's the most beautiful thing. It's handmade. And you can see that you can... These tumblers, look at the way they turn. It is so... You can feel it as you... It's so well made. It's beautiful. It's got these inlays. And here, I don't know if you can see that, there's a little arrow. And there's 7 tumblers in all. And if I enter in... my fat fingers will take too long to do this, but as I speak to you, I will try and do it. If I enter in a 7-letter word associated with something I might exclaim on the channel from time to time. Oh, nearly. I'm going to try and show you this. Okay, so if I haven't messed up, you should be able to see what I've spelt out there. And then this just pulls open. And you can hide something in there. Isn't that... I mean, I am absolutely blown away by that. Nim, thank you so much. I mean, I know it was... Mark's told me apparently it was an absolute mission to get it over here. But I am so grateful and touched by it. I really am. What a beautiful thing. That is going to sit on my desk and remind me of the kindness of our viewers. So I'm made up. Thank you. Now, other news, some birthday news. Abby, you've turned 18 today. I caught your comment yesterday. I hope you have a brilliant birthday with chocolate cake, of course. George, you've turned 42 today, and I know this because your wife Leah wrote to us, described you as being an amazing husband and father. I know your 5th wedding anniversary has just passed, and apparently today you're expecting pizza and chocolate cake, you lucky man. So George, I'm sure you're going to have an absolutely brilliant 42nd birthday. And over there in Germany, we've got a birthday today as well for Jan. I think it's going to be Jan rather than Jan. Jan, you've turned the big 3-0. And I know this because your girlfriend Maren wrote to us and said you'd appreciate a shout out. So I hope you have a brilliant birthday over there. And that is all the news. Let's have a look at this puzzle. Marty Sears, what have you got in store for me this time? Or Finkz the rat, I should say. Although we can't see Finkz. Is that the first time? Oh, it must be. Yes, of course. All the other all the other rat run puzzles have been normal Sudokus without fog of war. So we've always been able to see Finkz the rat somewhere in the grid and the cupcake that Finkz has to find somewhere in the grid. Anyway, let's read rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply. So we have to put the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. The aim of the experiment, Finkz the rat must reach the cupcake by finding a path through the maze. The path must not visit any cell more than once, cross itself, or pass through any thick maze walls. So like that. This sort of, what colour is that? Is that a yellowy green colour that Marty's found today? So let me go to the pen tool. If I go to the pen tool. So if Finkz was here, she couldn't then just cross that boundary because that would be going through a maze wall. As well as moving orthogonally, which means from a cell across an edge to the next cell, Finkz may move diagonally, so that's a diagonal movement obviously, if there is a 2x2 space in which to do so, but may never pass diagonally through a round wall spot on the corner of a cell. And this is great because I can actually demonstrate this. So if Finkz was here, she can't go like that because this round wall spot prevents that according to the rules. Imagine this round wall spot wasn't here, then she could do that. So diagonal movements are possible sometimes in these puzzles. Fog. The maze has been filled with fog. When correct digits are entered, the nearby fog will clear. No guessing is required. Black currents. Oh, we can't see any black currents. Digits connected by a black current are in a 1-to-2 ratio. So one digit is double the other. Not all possible black currents have been given. So imagine there was, it's hard to show this, but imagine there was a black current joining these two cells where I'm moving this cursor. Then the digits in these two cells would have to be in a 1-to-2 ratio. Motion sensors. The digit on a pink motion sensor, so these are motion sensors then, indicates how many of the up to 9 cells immediately surrounding the sensor are visited by Finkz, i.e. any cells neighbouring the sensor cell, diagonally or orthogonally, as well as the sensor cell itself, are counted if they lie on the path. Yeah, okay, well that's fairly clear, I think, isn't it? Cages. Can't see any cages. Digits don't repeat in a cage. Every cage has an electricity symbol which indicates its shock value. Any cage with a shock value of 5 or higher should not be entered by Finkz. Cages with a shock value lower than 5 are safe to enter. I've had that one before, that rule. I can't remember if we've had it more than once, though. Oh, and right, this is the final rule we're coming up to now. In this experiment, the first cage that Finkz enters could have any total. After that, each subsequent cage she enters must have a total exactly one greater than the previous cage she entered. Cages not entered by Finkz can have any total. Right, that is a very unusual rule. So there's a sort of sequence of killer Sudoku cages, and they're going to get higher as we move through the maze, or as Finkz moves through the maze. Do have a go. Honestly, you must have a go at this. If you've got this far in the video, just stop and have a go at the puzzle. But anyway, the way to play is to click the link under the video, as usual. Now, I get to play. Let's get cracking. So, well, I want to say that that square is a 4. And the way I'm seeing that is that it seems to me that if Finkz goes into any of these cells, none of these is a cupcake. So the path needs to... So if Finkz enters any of these cells, she has to move through all of the cells. And so that must be a 4, mustn't it? Because it can't be a 0. I think that's right. Ah, okay. And that, right, that didn't clear any fog, but I guess it shouldn't clear any fog because it only clears the fog from the surrounding cells. And there are no fog cells touching the 4, so we get no confirmation on the 4. We have to sort of... Well, although, if I'm right that Finkz has to enter all of those cells because she must do, then she must go there and she must go there. So, right, so if that conjecture is right, this is a 6, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ah, that is right. Oh, okay, so Finkz has not gone to any cupcakes if she does that. That is definitely not the path. So the path must go there. Okay. Let's look at this square. Because that square, that's sensing the motion that Finkz is contributing to those 6 cells. But this can't be a 4 or a 6, and yet it must be at least a 4, because Finkz has already visited 4 of these cells. So I think that's a 5. And that is a 5. Now this could be up to 9, couldn't it? No, it can't be 9. The reason it can't be 9 is that this is 5. So one of the... okay. So one of these 2 cells only is on the path. Well, what would happen if this was on the path? Well, that's a corner. So... Oh, no, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Oh, that's evil. I've thought of a way that this cell could be on the path, but this one wouldn't be on the path. And that's if Finkz did something like that, or that. Oh, that's rotten. Marty, you are very... Oh, okay, but that's forced, isn't it? I can see there's a wall above that. So... Okay, well maybe what we're meant to do is to get this digit then. Because the 5 is telling us that one of these 2 squares is on the path only. And that's, whichever one of these is on the path is contributing 1 to the total of this one, which has already got 7. So this is an 8. Okay, that's good. And we've found a cage. Oh, so the blue things are cages. Now, I'm not sure. Do you think that Finkz can go that way? I think she might be able to. I can't... There is a round wall spot here, but I can't tell whether it's joined up. I better assume that Finkz could go that way. I'm not sure. My eyesight might not be good enough to see a green wall going down there. Right, so how do we do this then? Well, do we have to think about the value of that? Probably not. I think this is going to be too complicated. I mean, it's more than 4, isn't it? Because it can't be 4, but it already sees 4. And it's not 5, and it's not 6. Okay, so it's 7 or... Oh, okay, we do look at this. Because that can't be 9. Because if it was 9, both of these cells would be on the path, and we know that would break the 5. So that is a 7. Okay. So we were right to be circumspect as well, because look, Finkz can go that way, but also this whole area here is an open 2x2. So I'm going to actually label these digits up, 1, 2, 3 and 9. I thought I pressed 2, but obviously didn't. You can't put 9 on a blackcurrant. The digits that will never appear on blackcurrants are 5, 7 and 9. And that's because if you think about it, one of the digits on a blackcurrant has to be double the other. So if you put 5, 7 or 9 on and double them, you get 10, 14 or 18. And now none of those are Sudoku digits. And if you halve them, you don't get integers. And also, non-integers aren't Sudoku digits. Do not, Marty. Just don't. Just don't. Close that to your mind and never think of it again. Now, so this is not 9. So this is 1, 2 or 3. Which means this digit is it's still got loads of options. It could be 1, 2, 3. No, it couldn't be 3. 1, 2, 4 or 6. I will pencil mark it actually. 1, 2, 4 or 6. Okay. Well, we know that one of these two squares is on the path to contribute to the 5. So this must be the exit from that area. So Finkz is either I don't know which way round the maze we're going at the moment. So Finkz could be coming down this way and then going that way. Yeah, okay. But actually, now the way that these walls are drawn, given that Finkz is entering one of these two cells, she can't be crossing this barrier, can she? Because once she enters here, she can't get out of this area, and there's no cupcake here, so that the start or end of the path is not there. So I think that's not a possible direction that Finkz can travel. Although Finkz could be going in the other direction, but that logic all applies the same way. So what was the rule about the electricity? Every cage has an electricity symbol, right? And that indicates whether it's electrified or not. Any cage with a shock value of 5 or higher. So, okay, but this digit, or this cage is definitely entered, isn't it? So this digit is a 1, 2 or a 3. Otherwise, you can't keep the shock value of this cage down to 4, 3, 2 or 1. Ah, right. I see. Okay. So now... yeah, this is good. I still don't know which direction Finkz is travelling in, but this cage and this cage are in sequence. They are consecutive on the path, aren't they? And we know, therefore, the total of this cage is 1 different. We don't know if it's positive or negative, but it's 1 different to the total of this cage. So how could either of these cages contain a 9? Because if either of these is 9, the other cage Well, let's imagine this was 9. This cage adds up to a minimum of 10, therefore, so this needs to add up to at least 9, and it couldn't, because it couldn't contain a 9. It would be containing digits from 1, 2, and 3 only. So I don't think either of those can be 9. And that means this is a 9. And it is. And we still don't know about cupcakes, or Finksz's for that matter, so this digit... Sorry, I keep saying right. But this is interesting, isn't it? Because this cage has now been entered. So the value of this square is 1, 2, 3, or 4. To keep the electric shock value down. And yet, oh, sorry, my phone is buzzing at me. Let me just check that's nothing important. I've managed to... Okay, oh, that's fine. Right. So... there's something going on here, isn't there? The value of this square is counting the number of... How is that not a 5? Yeah, okay. So look at this square here. It's counting how many cells Finkz visits in that little area. But Finkz has already visited 3 cells in that little area. So, but it can't only be it can't just write 3 in here, because that would imply the path stops in this position, which is not the cupcake and it's not Finkz. So this is at least a 4, but it's not a 4 and it's not a 6, and it can't be greater than 6, so it is a 5. Still no revealing of the start or end of the path. But now the minimum sum of these two squares is 6, which means this is it. Right, we now know the direction of Fink's travel, because the minimum sum of this cage is 6, which means this cage adds up to at least 5. Well, I can't make it add up to more than 5. The maximum it could be is a 2-3 pair, which would just get it to 5 and just allow it to be consecutive with this cage if this was a 1. So this is a 1. This is a 2-3 pair. This is a 1 by Sudoku, of all things. Oh, no, it didn't clear fog, but that's fine. There was no fog to clear. So this is 5. So this is 4, this cage, and that should be a 3. Ah, this is lovely. Now, what do we do with this knowledge? Well, Finkz can now go there, and then there, by the looks of things. I know. Oh, hang on. Yes, sorry, here's an obvious point. Once Finkz went to this square, which was forced by the fact that I worked out she couldn't go across row 7, once Finkz went here, that completed the 5 clue. Oh, bobbins. Well, it did. That's true. And that means Finkz never goes to the 1 in box 7. But it doesn't mean I know whether Finkz does a little rinky-dink like that, or does that. So that's right. That's going to be determined by this digit, probably. Because obviously, if she goes to both of these squares, that contributes a count of 2 to this. If it's just diagonal, it only contributes 1. Oh God, my phone is going nuts now. There's another cage here, which goes there, but I don't know how we're meant to know. I don't know how we're meant to know much. Do I know more about this digit if this can only be 2 or 3? This can't be 2 anymore, so I know almost nothing more about that digit. 1, 4, or 6. It's a case of grappling with all the rules and sort of trying to work out whether I know things that I don't feel like I know. I'm not sure. I mean, it's not going to be Sudoku, is it? There's so little we know about Sudoku in Under the Fog. I mean, I suppose we know 3 is over there. If that's 4, that's 2. We know that the next... Oh, I almost had an interesting idea there. What I was thinking is, I know the next cage, because I've gone 4, 5, 6, the next cage is 7, which almost makes this impossible, look. Because if this was the next cage, you can see it goes into this square at least. It may go off for wandering further. But if this was a 7 cage, it couldn't have more than 3 cells, and it would be a 1, 2, 4 triple. And the 1 is almost impossible to place. So the only way this is on the path is if that is a 1 and that's a 2, 4 pair, which would actually resolve this. So... Oh, so do I have to use... So hang on, what's going on here? Sorry. Yeah, oh, I see. I have to use this. So at the moment, the count of Finkz is... Finkz has got a count of 3 here, which means exactly 2 of those 3 squares are on the path. But look, if Finkz went to the 1, she would have to go here. Now, how does she only take 1 of these 2 squares? It's impossible. There's no way. She can't do that because she's going to be going through the rounded end of a wall. So she has to take both of those if she takes one of them. So she does take both of these and doesn't take this square. So that's not in, that's forced, that's forced. So we do end up, not by the route I thought, but we do end up in this cage, which must now be a 7 cage, and I think this square has to be a 1. Ah, and I found Finkz. Finkz is a 2. So this isn't a 1. Oh, that doesn't... Look at that. Oh, but this is a 2, 4 pair. So this is a 3. This is a 2. This is a 6. I don't know if any of you have found this when you've been solving these rat run puzzles, but it's a different feeling of joy you get from doing them. They're just really... There's something about them that is really engaging. I mean, I find all Sudoku engaging, but this sort of thing is just so magical to me. Oh, now... I wonder what that digit is. It can't be a 4 because of Sudoku. One of these is a 4, and it can't be a 5, so it's at least a 6. So it's 6, 7, or 9. But it can't be 9 because this square's not on the path. So it's 6 or 7 now. Which... but this is classic Marty Sears. Because you don't... It implies that some of these are on the path. But what you don't know is whether the path is going up here, or whether the path is sort of doing this somehow. Because what you can be sure of in a Marty Sears puzzle is that the path will not be a straightforward creature. It will be something incredibly unlikely. Okay, so... I'm unsure what to do now. Where should we look next? If you can see it, well done. I am not seeing it yet. I wish I was, but I'm not. It's almost... If that was... Which way round? Now, you want this to be 4, 8, really. I would put 8 in one of those squares. But, okay, so Finkz starts here. Right. So it's almost impossible for her to go upwards. Because to go upwards to this square, which is the electric value of this cage, would have to be a 4, wouldn't it? Because if it's any higher digit, then Finkz isn't allowed in there. Nine is in one of those two cells by Sudoku. 1 is in one of these squares by Sudoku. Okay, so maybe there's a way we can determine what this value is. 6 or 7. To be 7... I'm not sure. We're already on a count of 4, aren't we? But I can't see whether Finkz could do something like that or that under the fog here. So if she does go there, I'm not sure how many of these she takes. If she just goes straight up, is that a problem? 5. No, I mean, there's a lot of possibilities. She could even go straight up there and then get the extra 1 with something like that. Yeah, this is another of these situations where I'm probably going to have to be very careful not to just make a bad logical error, which is unjustified. So which rule is it that I've not used? Is it something to do with this? That I don't think it is, but I'm going to check it. I mean, I don't know whether this is in, do I? So we're on 4. But we could go straight up, so it might stay at 4. But it could be 5. It can't be 6, 7, or... So it's 4, 5, or 9. But this one is not on the path. So actually this is only 4 or 5. Right. So not much more in box 8 is on the path. And if I could lock 5 out of this square, then I think, looking at the fact I'm in this square, I would have to go up. Oh, that's probably impossible. 4... That would have to be a 3. Oh. Actually, no, does that work? Because wouldn't that then be 4, 8, and that break this square? Good grief. This might be what we're meant to do here. So... Oh, that's another thought. That is actually a sensor. And Finkz definitely makes an appearance there, but we don't know where she goes. But anyway, let me explore this. So if Finkz did do that, which is, I'm going to claim, the only way this is a 4, then because we know the direction of the path is here to here to here, this would have to be 1 less than 4. So this would be a 3. But then this black current couldn't contain a 1, 2 or a 3. So it would be a 4, 8 pair. And that would mean that couldn't have been the 4 that sent this vertical in the first place. So that tells us that we don't go there. Which I think means we go there, and that this is a 5. Boom. Boom. Okay, and we get another motion sensor and another black current. And the black current here, look, is not... well, it's not a 3-6 pair. And it can't be a 1-2 pair because there's already 3 sensors of motion, or cells of motion seen. So it's either a 2-4 pair, and for that it would have to be in that order. No, and it can't be that. Oh no, maybe it could. No, I'm wrong. Maybe it could be that. I was thinking we'd already reached a count of 4, but that's not true. We've only reached a count of 3, so it could be a 2-4 pair. Or it's an 8-4 pair, which would require an 8 here and a 4 here. Don't tell me that's possible. Oh, you rotten thing. But there is a 4 in this domino. Is what we've just learnt. Oh, it's so close to being interesting, that. Wow. That's very, very close to being interesting. Okay, so what do we do? Okay, oh no, we don't know. Again, I can't see whether Finkz can go vertically. If she does go down to here, it looks like there's no wall there. So various options would be available for how she gets out of box 8. This square. Oh, I don't know. I can't quite see how to do it. That's 3, 6. 3 and 6 are up there. If the phone's still going, doing its buzzing. Right. Where do you think we look now? We could try. We don't have to eat black currants, do we? So it's not like because Finkz is here, she has to go downwards. I'm unsure. If this is a 7 cage, isn't it? Okay, so what Finkz can't do... Yeah, this is really awkward, because I know with Marty Sears the most unlikely thing is probably going to be right. And I can see a way that Finkz could go from here through this cage. That would be an 8, because it would have to be sequential with 7. That would fix this as 3, 6, and then Finkz would... But Finkz couldn't go the wrong way, so Finkz would have to exit box 5 vertically to here, which is still just possible if this is a 4. It's so going to be what happens, isn't it? But any cage that Finkz go... Oh, Finkz can't go into the 7 cage, because then she'd be going backwards. Sorry, that's an obvious point. Oh, that's it. Right. Okay, so we have to consider the direction of travel. And we know the first cage Finkz enters from here is the smallest. So it's not that one. So Finkz doesn't go down. But that... Okay, that's fine. But if Finkz goes this way... Then this would be... Didn't we work... Oh no, it's not impossible now, because this would be a 3. But then how would Finkz get out? Oh, have I made a... You see, Finkz... This X here is worrying me now. Because if Finkz does go this way, then it seems she's forced into this square, which is then the first cell scene, first cage scene. And this could be a 3. But then you can see there's a green wall to the right of that. So based off the way I've got the path going, Finkz would have to go this way into a 7 cage, so that can't be true. I'm just nervous that what I've done is I've somehow concluded that although this is a 5, Ah, I know what I have done, yeah. I have. I've made a mistake, haven't I? Marty's got me. Because I like the idea of going down here, and I've now seen a way that you can. Because that one could be in, couldn't it? And that would allow this 5 to be a 5 without the path having to go that way. So that X I drew was wrong. We've got to go back. We've got to go back because I think what I did was... Let's go back to where we thought about this. So what we said was... We said that was impossible. Well, but that was predicated on this being a 4. And that is true. This can't be a 4. I am happy with that logic. But the mistake I make is I conclude this isn't a 4, which is correct. It is a 5, but I then extrapolate from that and X that off. And that is not justified, because this being 5 doesn't force me to turn here, because this could do that. Wow, that's evil. That is evil. So what we have to do, we're justified in making this 5. We're justified in labelling this does have a 4 on it. This is either 4 or 8. And this is either 2 or 4. I still haven't concluded, by the way, that this definitely comes here. It's just that when I was looking at the possibility of it coming here, it felt like that's what Marty wanted us to do. But it is still possible that all of that unwinding was unnecessary and that Finkz goes out through this one. Which would make that a 4. Ah, but that, right. How could that be? Oh, it's very straightforward, actually. Once I get my logic in the right, once my brain ticks at the appropriate speed rather than the slow speed it seems to have been going. But if Finkz goes here, the first cage seen on Finksz's journey would be a 4 here to make the electricity value correct, plus, say, oh, that digit's actually quite big, isn't it? So the first cage seen would be a big cage. Well, how could Finkz ever have gone into that cage then? Because every cage is supposed to be sequentially bigger. So Finkz must go to this cage. Can't go to the 7 cage, so does go to this cage. This cage is therefore... and must escape. And this is a 4 cage, so this is a 3 cage. So this is not 3, 6. This is 4, 8. Now, has that helped us? Maybe. I'm not actually sure. Okay, but also, how do we achieve the 5 here? If we go to that square, we're going to this square, aren't we? There's no other way, so this would be more than 5. So we never visit this square. Oh no, you know what? This is pure unadulterated evil. It is so difficult to eliminate all the possible rinky-dinks, because we could go to that one to get the 5 up. But look, if we do a sort of rinky-dink in there, we'd give an extra 1 to this. We know this square is not visited. That is something I am sure about. Which means that square is not visited. Okay, so maybe... here's another point. Finkz now can't go in here, because she could never get out. So Finkz does go north, but we don't know where from there, of course. But this square is never visited. This square is never visited, so this can't be an 8. This is a 4 on this motion sensor. And actually, that's huge, isn't it? Because we've already achieved that. So none of these squares are visited. So Finkz goes down, across, up, round, up here. And again, the thing is, it would be very easy to just assume that she turns here. But I think she could go up, and there could be something like that. Or that even. So, but the next cage on the path is an 8 cage. So, that's so clever. Surely that's right then. So how could Finkz go here? And the reason that might be a good question is that square now, because we've entered the cage, this can't be greater than, it can't be greater than 4, so it is a 4, yet it's the next cage, which would have to be an 8 cage, and it would have to be double 4. That, Marty, you are very, very smart. So it goes there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, but Bobbins, that doesn't help us. I would love to know what this is. Where is 8 in this box? There is the answer, by Sudoku. Okay. No, that hasn't helped us at all, because we still don't know whether this is 6 or 7. Do we know it can't go in here? It's very difficult for it to go. It's very difficult for it to go in here, unless this is a maybe a 1, 3, 4, 3 cell 8 cage. We are looking for we're looking for an 8 cage. But we don't have to go in there, and if we do go in there, it could perhaps be a 7-1 cage, or perhaps a 1, 3, 4 cage in some way. Okay, so maybe I have to do Sudoku. I know it's against my better judgment, but let's have a look at that. So 3, 6, 7, and 9. But that square is not 6 or 9 by Sudoku. That square is not 3 by Sudoku. That's about as useful as a chocolate teapot. Hang on. This is a motion sensor. So it can't be 8 because that's not in, and that's not in either. So that's 4. That's probably been available for ages. I just didn't see it. So this is a 2. And this is it's a 4, and but it's only achieved a count of 3. Oh no. And I still don't know how this joins up. That's a 4, right? So that's a 4, and that's a 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 5, 6, 7, 9. So 5 is in one of those squares. It's not. It's not on the dot. We talked about that earlier. You can't put a 5 on a blackcurrant, so that's a 5. That's going to reveal more things, although whether those things are exactly useful is questionable. We've now got 3 on the path here, so 2 of these squares are on the path. Now doesn't that mean that's a 3? Might be wrong about that. But if this is a 5, and I've only got 3 on the path so far, 2 of these are on the path, therefore that cage is visited, therefore the electricity value has to be low. That's a 3. Okay. That was correct. What's this blackcurrant going to be? Because it's not 1, 2, it's not 2, 4, and it's not 4, 8, so it is 3, 6, and there's only one way to do it. That's 3, that's 6. So now these two squares are a 7, 9 pair. This is a 6 after all that. We finally got it by dint of Sudoku of all things. So we've had the 6. So we now have to exit, but we could exit diagonally. So there is no guarantee as to how we exit. All we know is that we don't go into that square. I actually think Marty must just, when he sets these puzzles, He must just be laughing at the future solver and that what's going to happen to them as he concocts this nonsense that we have to deal with. 1, 7, 8, 9. That is a 7, 8, or a 9 apparently. 1, 7, 8, 9. So the only way that this cage doesn't have an electric shock value that's too high is if this square is a 1. Oh, where's 8 in? Yeah, where's 8 in box 8? I think there's only 1 square for it. It's not going to clear any fog, but that's a little deduction of value. 1 has only got 1 place in this box. 7. Oh, this is that just finishes that box. So 4, 5, and 8 into these squares, which means these don't include 8, obviously, or 9 actually now by Sudoku. And these squares are 2, 6, and 9. Now, that can't be 9 because this square is not on the path. Can it really be 2? Oh. If it's 2, then the path goes through none of those squares. So the path would have to go across the top of the grid. I mean, there's probably a reason that's impossible, but I don't know what it is. If this is on, so if the path goes here, the thing is that could be a 3-cell path, and it just clips it by going up here, and then this would be an 8 cage. It couldn't be 1, 2, 5 because 1, 2, and 5 have already appeared in column 2, so it would have to be 1, 3, 4. So 3. Oh no, maybe that's 3. No, 3, 1, 4. That would work. Oh, that's a 7, so that's a 9. So this is not a 9. And of course, we've revealed nothing of any value there. Although, I say that, oh no, we have. Actually, we have. Because I can see now that this square is sort of fenced in. So how does Finkz get out of this area of the grid? Well, she must go from there. She must go across that junction. And that means she does enter this cage, which means this is... well, 2 things. Firstly, this is an 8 cage. Secondly, it's not a 3-cell 8 cage, because the cage doesn't go into this square. So it would be those 3 squares, and it would either be 1, 2, 5 or 1, 3, 4, and that would break. So this is a 2-cell 8 cage, and this square is a 1 or a 5, and it's not a 5, so this is a 1, I think. And that's therefore a 7. This is a 3. Okay, that's really rather cool. Now, so the next cage we visit is a 9 cage. Now this, is that on the path or do we not know? It looks like Finkz has to go across that junction. I really think also it would be incredibly easy to think you'd solve this puzzle, but you might find you didn't do it quite as logically as you thought you had. I could get a 3 in the corner there. 4, 5, 4, 6, 4, 7, 9 into these squares. So these are 5, 6, 8. So it's only just possible for this to be on the path, because it would have to be, well, if it's the next cage on the path, it would have to be a 9 cage, and that could only be achieved with 4 here and 5 here. But also, actually, that's interesting. How could this be a 2? It's a motion sensor cage, and the path is continuous, isn't it, through this cell? So it's not just going to be those 2. That must be a 3. That takes away my chance of a 3 in the corner. Okay. And we know that this is on the path, so neither of these can be on the path. So the path, actually, that's good. Whoa. The path goes like that. Oh, and this is now not on the path, because that would break the 3. 1, 2, 3. So the path now goes exactly like this. And this square is on the path, and that's on the border, and only sees 6 squares. So it can't be 7 or 9, that's a 4. 1, 2, 3. So what? So it must be this cell that's on the path. So we are going to hit this cage. That's gorgeous, because by hitting this cage, we know this is a 4 to stop it being electrocuted, and we know it must add up to 9. So we actually get to fill in a few digits there for a change. Now, what does that mean? So if the path goes here now, that would be a 6. That's 2. No, it's fine. Oh, I don't believe it. If that's a 1. Oh, that's what it'll do. I think. Although that's going to make a very complicated path. I'm not sure, but I think certainly it's possible that if the path goes here, this is a 6, because it can't be a 2 anymore, because the path will go there as well. But then we know this path will add up to 10, so it will have to be 6, 3, 1. The 1 on the electricity is beautiful, because that's an allowable electricity value. But this being a 6 would mean the path would then have to take those 3 squares as well. So I think it would have to come in and out of box 2 somehow. I don't think there's a problem with that. I mean, there could be a problem, I'm just not seeing it. But, so 2, 6 and 8 here. 1, 4 and 5 there. And how on earth what do we do now then? How do we know where we go next? I don't know. What I do know is it's going to be something nonsensical. So I have to think of the most ludicrous thing, and it's going to be something to do with that. Right, Marty, what have you done then? What you've done is you've said... Is it something to do with 3s? I don't think it is. I mean, if that's a 7, that's off limits. That's it, isn't it? God, I mean, that's complicated. Right. So I'm now going to claim this can't be... Well, I'm going to claim the path doesn't do that. I hope I'm... Oh! No, it's much simpler. Oh gosh, the way I was going to do that was so ludicrously complicated. But all we need to do actually is to note there's a 1 here. So for this 10 cage, if the path goes to this square, because this has to be a 6 by motion sensor logic, and this cage has to add up to 10, Sudoku stops it happening. I was going to disprove it by a completely ludicrous way. So this is not. So the path goes up, is what we've just proved. We don't then know what it does. But how could this square be on the path now? It can't be, because the path would run into a cul-de-sac. So this can't be it. Oh no, hang on, I've made an error. For some reason, I've been counting these as the 6 cells, and that's total and utter nonsense. It's these, isn't it? I've been looking just exclusively at box 2. So I'm not sure I trust the deduction that takes this up here anymore. Let me rethink that. So I might... Oh! Well, it's actually even simpler. I've already seen 3 on the path, so that is a 6. It could never have been a 2. So that's a 9, that's a 2. But no, this still can't be on the path, because it would be the 10. So we have to go up. And then what do we do? Somehow we have to get out of here, but we've now taken 4 cells on the path. We know neither of these are on the path, so let's X those off. But we have to get to a count of 6. So, and the 3 that are missing, we know what they are. So these are both on the path. And therefore the path must go there, because otherwise it will end itself. We haven't found a cupcake yet. The cupcake is still hidden in the fog somewhere. But this is interesting, because we've gone into this square, which can't now be a 7, otherwise its electricity value is too high. And we know that this is a 10 cage, so this is a 7 as well, because 2 plus 1 plus 7 is the correct number to get us to 10. And now this is a 7 and this is a 9. No, so we don't, yeah, we don't know what that is, do we? So this is 2, 8, 9. The path is going that way. I don't know whether the path, don't believe it. The path could go down, because to do that, this would have an electricity value of 2 to allow this cage to be entered, and that would get it to the correct total. So that's what it's going to do. I say that probably with Marty it now won't, but that's what I think it's going to do. Okay, but I suppose if it does go there to make an 11 cage, it's also going to go there. So this would have to be a 12 cage. Oh no, it could be, with a 1 here and an 8 below it. This is rotten. Okay, so is it to do with this being a motion sensor then? Well, the thing is, this could have a there is a 1 up here, so it could be a 1 if this dips down. It's by Sudoku. It is 1, 3, 5, or 6. Can I actually rule out any of those or not? I don't know. If this is blocked off, then the path does go into this square, which would make this at least a 5. And whether it's 5 or 6 would resolve this little flurry of activity over here. I know there's a 4 in one of those squares, for what that's worth, which is little. So, okay, and if we don't go down, then we need to find an 11 cage somewhere over here. Just because this is 3 doesn't mean we go into this, does it? Although, hang on, wasn't there a motion sensor somewhere? There was a motion sensor. Ah, this 5 is telling us that 2 of these, only 2. Oh, I don't believe it. So it's only 2. So the way that Finkz traverses this cage is not by taking all 3 of the cells, but only 2 of them, which I think must mean that this junction is forced. Because obviously, if otherwise, we're going to take all 3. So that's forced, but that still doesn't. Okay, so Finkz goes into this cage, but I don't know when. I want to say after an 11 cage. But that might not be true. So we could go up here, find an 11 cage here, and then go through this cage like that, and it might be after a 12 cage, so this might have to add up to a 13, which is probably impossible, but or it could add up to 14 or something like that, 3, 5, 6. Depends how many cages are visited over here in the fog. But I do know that this is visited. Okay. Where's the cupcake? Where's the cupcake? I don't think there's any point doing Sudoku down here, is there? I mean, I'll do it because I haven't got anything cleverer to think about, but I don't think this is going to be the route forward in the puzzle, unfortunately. 2, 6, 9. So I get rid of a 3 from that one. I get rid of a 7 from this one. Is there some sort of clever Sudoku shenanigans we can do? It's very... I mean, what's so clever about this is that I now can't claim I don't understand the rules. I do understand the rules. But what about that square? I haven't thought about that square very hard. That's it. Right, goodness me. Okay, so Finkz, if Finkz was to dip down here, she'd have to go continue. And that would make this 4 wrong, wouldn't it? It would be a 5 now. So the way Finkz traverses this cage is that way. So that means I do... Well, that means all of that's forced, and that's going to be huge. Because that means this is a 2. This has to now be a 12 cage, and I think the only way I thought that worked was like that. That was right. Okay, that's good. That's good. Surely this is a 5 by Sudoku. It's working. It's working. This is a 4 by Sudoku. This could be visited because it's small enough. This is not a 2. Where's 9 in column 7? The answer is there, apparently. So this is a 6. That does the 6. It does the 8 and the 5. This is not a 5, not that I was expecting it to be, but... Oh, it's also not a 6 now. It's a tiny value. Okay. Don't know what that means yet. But I think we're getting there slowly but surely. 4-5 pattern. It'll have to be resolved by something. In fact, there's a 1-3 pattern as well. That's a 2-6 pattern. So there's a lot of things going on here. Okay, and we're up to 12, aren't we? And this is at least a 14 cage. So the path doesn't go from here to here if this is on the path. I still don't know where the cupcake is. This looks like it's desperate to be a 1. Where's the cupcake? Have we got any other motion sensors that I haven't used? Well, this one, yeah. Oh yeah, no, that's true. So not only does this 4 deal with the possibility that those 2 were on the path, and therefore these 2 are on the path, but also, how do I just pick up 1 more from this? I've got 3 here. I don't know. I don't think it can be just this one, can it? Because how would I get into just this square and not take another one? I'd have to do something like that, and that's too nonsensical for words. So I think the only way of doing it is for this to be on the path, which is shocking, really. Because if that's on the path, none of these are on the path. I still don't know what that means. I mean, how... Oh, my goodness me. Right. Okay, well, if that logic is sound, how do I complete the 5 clue now, which has only got 4 on it? That must be on the path. So the path goes like that, if this is all correct. And then it must do that, then it must do that. And this isn't... We haven't found any cupcakes, so the path must continue into both of those squares. But then... Right, so that's interesting. If that logic is all sound, this is the cupcake in the bottom right-hand corner. Because nothing else could be. This must be the end of the path. So the path goes like that. So, do I know then? So if this... Can we rule out this from being a 16 cage? On the basis that if it was a 16 cage and this was a 12 cage, then we would have to have a 13, 14 and 15 cage entirely hidden within the fog. That could be a 13. That could be a 14. I don't believe it. You're kidding me. And that, all I've got to do is to prove that could be a 15 cage. 681. 681. Why doesn't that work? This is... Oh no! No. If this finishes with a 13, 14, 15 cage down there, I will be delighted in a way. I mean, it's so absurd. It's just absurd. That would make that a 3. It would put a 3 in the corner. It's all going to be great and hunky-dory, isn't it? Ah, no, it doesn't work, because that would be a 1. Okay, no, it doesn't work. Because if this is a 16 cage, because that puts 3 in the corner, this is a 1 then. Which means that only this cell of all these is visited. But in order to create enough space for my 13, 14 and 15 cages down here, I needed this square to be in. I mean, I could do 13 here. I can't do 14 there, so something. It's just not enough space. Ah, no, hang on. What if the cupcake itself was in a cage? I hadn't thought of... Oh, no, but if the cup... No, that would be okay. Can you re-enter a cage? Yeah, well, you've re-entered this cage, so yes, you can. Let me just read that. Each cage has a shock value. Any cage. The first cage. After that, each subsequent cage. So the re-entry of this cage doesn't cause the ticker to clock up by 1. So all I've actually got to do then is not... But look, there's a big wall here. And I need some of these squares to be in the 13, 14 or 15 cage. So I'd have to take this cage, this cell. And that does break it. So I think this has to be a 1. And that's at least going to reveal... That's correct. Okay, so that at least reveals to me... Oh, but the weird thing about that is that changing this to a 3 means the path does come up here. Somehow. And that was the cupcake. That can't be on the path. Oh, no, there's all sorts of diagonal... Well, how could this be on the path? 1, 2, you'd have to take 2 of these squares. So I don't think you can take anything in the top row. So these 2 are on the path, I think. So that is what's forced. So this is 2 corners. You know, we go this way, this way, this way, this way. I've got no... Yeah, there's still some jiggery-pokery going on under here, because now I've got a 14 cage and a 12 cage, so there's a 13 cage hidden under here. And I bet we have to work out where it goes. Oh, this is just filthy. So it can't be... No, it could be a 3-cell one. It could be a 3 or a 2-cell one. What? Oh, it must be motion sensors or something then that I've not understood. There must be some way that we can... How do I work this out? And what's determining whether the path just closes here? Why couldn't it do rinky-dinks? I'm sorry, I'm misremembering something here that would explain everything. because I'm not sure what's going on. 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm checking the motion sensors now to make sure that I haven't made a... Oh, okay, but what... Okay, maybe there could be a motion sensor under here. That would resolve... Okay, so maybe I can do it that way. Right. Ah, hang on. Do all cages have an electricity symbol? That might be an interesting thought. Let me go back. Yes, right. Every cage has an electricity symbol. So you can't have... Oh no, you could. I could have a 4-9 cage, I've just realised. So I could have a 4-9 cage here. And providing the 4 was on the electricity symbol, everything would work. So why could that or couldn't that be 4-9? I don't know. Alright, so the alternative to a 2-cell 4-9 cage, what we can't have is a 6-7 cage, because the 6 and the 7 would be on the path, or one of them would be on the path, and the 6 and the 7 are too high for the electricity value. But what I've thought about, this is the one that I think is the most likely, is a 3-cell cage. Ah, that doesn't... The 3-cell cage option doesn't work for a different... Oh no, maybe it does. I was thinking of the 247 version. So if this was 247, why would that be wrong? 2 here, 4 here. Either of these could be the electricity value. 7 here. And then... I don't know. I don't see... I mean, I don't have to use uniqueness, and the fact there must be a unique solution down here. I don't think it's going to be uniqueness that resolves whether this is 247 or whether this is 49. See, the 49 could actually go there as well, I've just realised. It doesn't have to be there, it could be there. So I've missed something. That's what I'm concluding. I've either missed something or I've made a mistake. Both of those things are possible. It is, I think, quite difficult to solve this without making any logical errors, because I've made so many that I've had to backtrack on already. So, have I got the right pencil marks? Probably. A quick glance suggests that I have. There's nothing about the cupcake having to have a particular value or anything, is there? Motion sensors. Have I used all motion? Can I double-click motion sensors? No. But I think the ones that are reaching into this part of the grid are this one, and this one. All of which seem to be fulfilled. Have I done the totaling right? I've got a 12 cage here. And that is... Oh, no, I haven't. No, I have. That's a 14 cage. So I do need a 13 cage. I just don't know where it goes. I'm sorry, I can't see it. I just don't know what it is. Do I... Okay, is this always 4 then? Is that the point? Maybe that's the point. That's quite clever. Yeah, okay. So, I know there's a 13 cage. I don't know what it looks like. But, how do you ever make it if this isn't a 4? You could do 4-9 there, 4-9 there, or 2-4-9 there. No, 2, 4, 7 there. But if this is 5, you can't do 6, 7. We worked that out. Because you couldn't have an electricity value. Right, so that's it. I think this has to be 4. Okay, that feels right. Okay, that's good. Right, so 4 goes here, 4 goes here, 5 goes here. So 5 goes there. This is now a 9 by my logic. So that's an 8, that's a 9, that's a 7. And look, there is a motion sensor, naughty motion sensor. And we still are going to have to use it because we've now got a deadly pattern on 2s and 6s left. But that must be 6 because we've already got 3 things on, or 4 things on the path. So in fact, everything has to be used. So we can finish the puzzle here. But to finish the motion sensor, we have to do a whole rinky-dink. Otherwise, we would not reach a count of 6. Marty, that is just a sensational puzzle. Let me just check, if you don't mind. I know it extends the video a little bit, but I just want to make absolutely sure. I think it would be very, very easy to have an error in this. Yeah, see, I haven't, yeah, look, I haven't joined up the path. So to join up the path here, oh no, you know what? I've got to be careful. This could be wrong. It's not going to affect the logic. Probably. I'm wondering about the logic where I force this to have to be in a cage. Because I've seen that this 5 could collect this digit. So somehow or other this all gets resolved. So the 4 here, that did require this to be in. Okay, that's a good thing because that meant that cage was used. And but then the 5 here. What I'm worried about is whether this is on the path or whether this is on the path. I don't think I now know that because I could do that or I could do that. The 7 has got 6 in it at the moment. Oh. Okay, so that is resolved. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it needs 1 more. And it never could get this, and it never could get that, because that would break the 8 from memory. So it must do that. That does, okay, so that, right, and that resolves the question I had about re-entering this cage, doesn't it? Because now my 5 is complete. And this is not on the path, which means that closes like that instead. Wow, that was an incredibly tricky thing, and I still am not sure I finished it. Let's carry on. I'm glad I checked. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I know the comments are people will write the comments before they get to the end of the video, and they'll say I made a mistake and things, which I don't think I used this. I think I got that this cage was in. And the fact that it came to this square on the path didn't make a difference, I don't think, to the logic I did down here. I'll have to check that once the video finishes. If I think it did, I'll put a card on the screen. But I don't think it did. Because I think that was just a path question. And whether it goes directly down or goes to here and here, it still has to do this rotation. So I hope that that's okay. Right, anyway, let's just keep going and make sure the path is finished. It looks better. It looks at least continuous now. Let's risk it. Let's click tick. Whoa, yes. Experiment completed successfully. Cells visited 55. Black currants eaten only 1. Inactive cages entered 12. Active cages entered 0. Phase 1 of the rat run study is now complete. Over these first 10 experiments, Finkz has continued to surprise us at every turn with what she is capable of. Results will be analysed and further calibration of the equipment will take place before Phase 2 commences in the autumn. Oh my goodness. 1,000 people have solved it. Well, that's why the comments are so long. It's another long video. The last 3 or 4 videos have been very long, but if you've watched any of them, I think you'd agree they all are absolutely wonderful puzzles, which is the main criteria, frankly. We might try and find something a bit easier for the next couple of days, though, just to... I know some of you, at least, won't want to spend your entire time watching long Sudoku videos, but that was another masterpiece. Absolutely ridiculous. What a ridiculous puzzle, and what a great finish to an incredible, the best Sudoku series in history. Marty, Sears, take a bow. We shall genuflect before you, and I hope that you see a wealth of comments thanking you for what is hours and hours of joy that you've given, or what are hours and hours of joy that you've given so many people. Loved it. Let me know in the comments. Do drop a comment in. We enjoy them, especially when they're kind, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.